Okay, hello and good morning. Okay, so let's just review quickly. I taught you, or I'm trying to teach you how to factor. There's like 7 steps or 7 ways to factor. The first one is the greatest common factor. The second one is the difference of 2 squares. The third one I taught you is group factoring. Today, I'm going to teach you how to factor a trinomial where the leading coefficient a is equal to 1. Tomorrow, or the next day, will be a is bigger than 1. Okay, those are a little harder. Okay, so let's take a look. This one right here, you got to look and see, do they all have something in common, like 5, a 5, a 5, but no 5. So you can't take out a 5, but you always have to check this. It's not 2 terms, so it's not going to be that. But it's 4 terms, so we're going to go to group factoring. There's a 5 in common, so you want to take out a 5. There's also a m, so you want to take out a m. So you left with, you took the 5, you took the m, you left with n plus 5 times 5 is 25, and you already took the m out. Over here, they have a 3 in common, so you're going to take out a 3, and you're going to take out 2 n's. So if you take out the 3 and 2 out of the 3 n's, then you're left with 1. If you take out 3 times 5 is the same as that. All right, so now these two terms have this in common. So you take out an n plus 5, and you're left with 5m plus 3n squared. And if you do FOIL, you should get all of that. And of course, we're not going to do it, but if it was really important to you, you could. All right, one more. These two, there's a 2, a 2, a 2, but no 2, but you always have to check. Here I'm going to take out 2 b's, so b squared. So I'm left with 4b plus 1. Here I'm going to take out a 2. I'm left with 4b plus 1. Check it. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. Now you take out the 4b plus 1, and you're left with b squared plus 2. Sometimes when you group factor, you can even break down one of these further. It might be the difference of 2 squares, okay? So just keep that in mind. Just because you factor one way doesn't mean you can't do it a different way. All right, anyway, that is today's bell work. Put away your bell work. On a new sheet of paper, I want you to copy down this problem here. So copy down number 1. Okay, copy that down. Now there's a sign chart that will help you, and I want you to memorize it. So put a star by it. So if it's a plus and a plus, it will yield a plus and a plus. If it's a minus and a plus, it will yield 2 minuses. Either one of these you would add to get the middle term. However, if it's a plus and a minus, or a minus and a minus, you're going to end up with a plus and a minus, and you're going to subtract. So copy that down, and the sooner you memorize that chart, the easier it's going to be. So look here. There's nothing in common. It's not 4 terms. It's not the difference of 2 squares. It's a trinomial, 1, 2, 3. Okay? It's a quadratic equation. It's in the 2nd degree. Anyhow, if it factors, it's going to look like this. Okay? So b times b is b squared. That's your first term. Remember FOIL? Your first term is always going to be like that. Now, look at the chart. This is a plus and a plus. A plus and a plus is going to yield a plus and a plus. So put that in there. A plus and a plus you're going to be adding to get the middle term, which is 8. So the only thing with 7 is 1 times 7. And then 7 or 1 plus 7 is 8. It has to add up to give you that middle term. Okay, so the question is, what times what equals 7, but what plus what equals 8? And it's 1 times 7. So write down this question. Anyhow, your 1 goes here, your 7 goes here, you're done. Now I want you to always check the outer and the inner. So the outer is 7b, the inner is 1b, and that gives you the middle term, which is 8b. That's how you do that. Let's try another one. Let's try this one right here, number 4. Okay, so I'm going to move this. So number 4, copy this down. Now what you might do is take the 12 and start factoring. Now not prime factor, but factor. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Write that down. Okay? 1, 2, 3, and then 4. When it starts to come up on the other side, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you got all the factors. So always go 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. Anyway, if it factors, it's going to look like this. Now a plus and a minus, look at the chart. A plus and a minus is going to give you a plus and a minus, and you're going to subtract. So the question is, what times what equals 12 that's going to subtract to give you the middle term, which is 4? Okay? So that's the question. Well, 1 times 12 is 12, but when you subtract, you get 11. We don't want 11. 2 times 6 is 12, but when you subtract, you get 4. That's the one we want right there. So put 2 and a 6, just like that. Now here's the trick. Okay, one of them is a plus, one is a minus. Since the middle sign is a plus, you put the plus with the bigger number. Let's check it. That gives you a plus 6n, that gives you a minus 2n, and that gives you a positive 4n. We want a positive, okay? Let's say you did it wrong, or you don't know what you're doing, and you put a plus 2 rather than a minus. Watch what happens. Here you get a negative 6n, and here you get a positive 2n, and when you add that up, you get a negative 4n. We don't want a negative middle term, we want a positive. So some kids put the signs and check it, outer and inner, and if it's not right, they switch them. Okay? The way I would do it is, if the middle one is a plus, put the plus with the bigger number. If the middle one turns out to be a minus, put the minus with the bigger number. I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to get you started. Okay, so let's take a look at this number 11, last one. Now I want you to look at this as like a game. According to the chart, a minus and a minus, look here, a minus and a minus is going to give you a plus and a minus, and you're going to subtract, okay? So I already know it. 7 times 8 is going to subtract to give me a 1. That's my answer. Now if you don't know it, okay, because you're not real good with your times tables, then start factoring. So you're going to go 1 times 56, 2 times 28, 3 times, I don't even know that 3 works. So you get your calculator or my calculator and take 56 divided by 3. Oops. 56 divided by 3 doesn't work. So scratch that. 4. 56 divided by 4 is 14. So that does work. 5 doesn't work because it doesn't end in a 5. 6 I don't think works. 7 does work. 7 times 8. So look at what I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 comes up on the other side. That means you didn't miss anything. And here's your answer. So when you subtract these, you get a 1. So finally, you're going to have an n times n is n squared. You're going to have a 7 and an 8. Okay, now, since the middle one is a minus, put the minus with the bigger number. And I want you to check. The outer is a negative 8. The inner is a positive 7. And when you subtract, you get a negative 1, which is what we want. If you end up with a positive, switch your signs. All right, that's it. So for today, guys, you're going to be doing these problems here. And it's quite a bit. And I want all of these today. I want the front and the back. If you get stuck, I'll help you. If you only show me answers, obviously you're not going to get credit, okay? And it's not helping you, all right? All right, so we're going to go on. Let's go to geometry. All right, so on geometry, what we're going to do is take these 2 points and translate. Now, translate is a slide. Write that down. So what you're going to do is subtract 2 from all of the x's. And you're going to add 4. I'm sorry, you're going to add 5